a holographic vision coming from inside of you to navigate to this place. If you zoom out of the universe, it looks like a gigantic brain cell. So we're most likely living inside of a living being. Spirituality can be explained through real science. Why did it manifest? Why did this happen? Why? How? It's all based off of quantum mechanics and quantum physics. As above, so below. The reason why this picture is so powerful is because the merging that's happening with the digital and the spiritual, the consciousness and the technological. You see the two are starting to merge. The problem with this, there's a lot of benefits to it, but there's also a lot of downside to it. The benefits of it could be people who are in wheelchairs now become free from that chair. People who have certain disabilities can maneuver around their house and turn lights off, turn lights on, maybe even drive cars, whatever. All different types of things that can be done when you access this type of, technology. But also, like I said before, yin and yang. Just like the force can be used for good, the force can also be used for bad. Until we take back control of this planet, things like the technologies you saw will always be turned into a military type of a project and unfortunately used to, eradicate people. So we have to be very mindful of the technologies that we develop. And we have to understand that some of these technologies will help people, will help civilians, but at the same time could damage a lot of other people in other parts of the world as well. A scientist observing an atom is actually a group of atoms observing itself. And that's all we all are. We're just a reformulation of atoms in a different format, analyzing and trying to feel our way through this matrix and understand and learn. Literally, that's exactly what it is. The universe literally has this energy flowing through it, which then coalesces into stars, and stars then explode and create heavier elements. And some of these elements collide and form molecules and so forth. And next thing you know, you have an avatar walking around named Billy Carson, trying to figure out what happened. How did all this happen, and analyzing it from a perspective, down here, and still then transmitting all the answers that I'm getting back to the source. And the source is getting this information. It's like one of the analogies that I use a lot. The brain is encased in complete darkness. It doesn't know anything going on out there. Nothing. The brain knows nothing. What it does, it sends its friends out. Hearing, smelling, sight, smell, touch, or feel, all the different senses. It says, hey, go out there and find out what's going on for me. Those senses go out and grab information. They themselves can't decipher the information at all. They have no clue what they're getting. They say, hey man, I got this stuff for you. Here's this digital information about what we captured out there. I don't know what it means, and you can figure it out. They give it to the brain figures it all out, and then projects a hologram of what's going on, and you navigate through the matrix based on that hologram. That's what brought you here even today. A holographic vision coming from inside of you to navigate to this place based off of information that you never touched, smelled, saw, or felt. You got data from another source and then came up with the idea of what to do. So if you look at a brainstem and look at the universe, I know a lot of you have probably seen this, you see the same thing. If you zoom out of the universe, it looks like a gigantic brain cell. So we're most likely living inside of a living being, a living entity. The Earth itself, I believe, is also a living conscious being. Planets and moons, they've created enough connectivity to obtain, to me, a certain level of consciousness, a certain level of sentience. And I believe that planets and moons, and so did the ancients, they talk about it all the time. Matter of fact, in the 𝗩𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓, which predates the information going into the book of Going Forth by Day, the 𝗩𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓 talks about the creation of the solar system, and it talks about the planets as if they were real living people that were making love and going to war and having fights and communicating with each other and getting lonely and everything else. The ancients knew all about this as above, so below, and the fact that these planets are properly conscious. As a matter of fact, I believe the planet is so conscious and so alive that these oil wells, I've been researching them for the last 5 years now. An oil well will go dry, and then miraculously, 5 years, 10 years, sometimes 20 years later, there's oil again. I think that oil is like an amniotic fluid, like the blood of the earth itself. I think that the planet is creating oil. I don't believe anymore that dinosaurs died and because of that they died, their bones became oil. And ancient trees collapsed on top of each other, and because of that, we got all this oil on the planet. I don't believe it anymore. Now I believe that oil is the blood of the earth, just like a lot of these raw minerals are inside of the earth and being created by earth. I think diamonds and all these other things are being created by the planet itself through its own geological forces. Like you've heard me say before, DNA is a storage medium. It stores a lot of data. They've increased it significantly now. Now it's 433 petabytes of data you can store on 1 gram of DNA. So the human body is literally a gigantic USB hard drive. Every single thing that's happening subconsciously and consciously is being stored in your DNA. Every thought you think, everything that you're going through, it's all in there. All your ancestors' information is inside of your DNA. All the epigenetic memories from 20 generations ago is inside of your body. And so this is one of the reasons why it's very important to reprogram. And this is part of the reprogramming process and understanding this, because a lot of the ancient tortures and ailments and situations that happened, 3, 4, 5, 10 generations ago, you could be suffering from that right now. You could be like, why am I depressed? Why do I have PTSD? Why am I sick? Why am I ill? Why, all these things? Why am I thinking this way? It may not be you thinking that way directly. It could be memories, ancient remnants of memories stored in your DNA that are coming back up to the surface again. The struggle is very real. And the only way to fix this problem is to reprogram. How do you reprogram your DNA? You reprogram your DNA by learning, researching, loving yourself, looking within, eating the right types of foods, exercise, saying positive affirmations. All of those things will help you reprogram your DNA and help you find a way. A study was actually done. If you say something positive 3 times a day out loud to yourself, about yourself, for 21 days, you literally, that little bit will reprogram your DNA right there. That little tiny bit. That's a real scientific study. Look it up. So imagine we're consistently working on ourselves, consistently trying to change ourselves. And now we have offspring. They come out a little bit better. And if we can get them to teach and train, then the next one comes out. And next you know, we shorten this time span of all this sickness. We can remove it, eradicate it from the gene pool a lot quicker than if we just continue to let things, kick our feet up and watch the world burn and watch everything keep happening and just keep going. I'm gonna get out of here soon. You gotta die from something anyway. Just let the world keep going on this bad cycle. I think we're the ones that are taking action to help prevent that sickness from continuing to propagate down many generations. Now scientists manage to store information on one single atom. So forget a gram of DNA, we've gone down to the atomic level, really subatomic. Because now, which is really incredible, because if you can imagine an atom is 99.9% empty space. And now we're saying we can store information on that. Think about that. Described in the Journal of Nature, physicists working on an IBM research facility in California found that when polonium atoms were placed on a special surface made of magnesium oxide, they naturally oriented themselves with their magnetic north and south pole, just like regular magnets have, pointing either straight up or straight down, and remain that way in a stable condition. What's more, they can make the atoms flip by giving them a zap from a scanning tunnel microscope that is a needle with a tip just 1 atom wide. That's amazing. A needle with a tip 1 atom wide. That's we're on the nanoscale level now, making technology. The experiment mimics the way the magnetic disk of a hard drive works. Tiny magnets on those disks point either up or down, and that orientation conveys binary information, either 1 or 0. So the same zeros and ones that you just saw getting encoded into DNA are now getting encoded onto atoms. We're moving very fast and we're moving in a direction technologically, but a lot of this stuff was already known by a lot of physicists in ancient times. Zeno was one of them. He talked about these concepts in ancient texts a very long time ago. He's one of the very first documented quantum physicists that ever existed. And again, all of this, I'm thinking a lot of these scientists have read a lot of these ancient texts and coming up with ideas for experiments. The reason why I chose science is because I'm trying to get you to understand exactly how spirituality works. Spirituality can be explained through real science. It's just that we've been taught that science should be on the left and spirituality should be on the right. The two of them should never mix together. When in actuality, just like 𝗩𝗘𝗦𝗧 said, the two are really pretty much directly linked. And so the reason why I show a lot of science and talk about a lot of science in my presentations and lectures and workshops is because if you get the understanding of the science, the fundamental basis of how the science operates and works, I'm hoping you can make the correlation to the spiritual realm and understand. So when you think about trying to change a situation, or trying to create something or manifest something or enact some of these hermetic principles into your life, that you're seeing it, real science backs it up. It makes it now more believable, more achievable, and you understand how the function is to create the end result. Some people will learn multiplication table by memorizing the answers, right? 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2. I mean, you can just keep on going, right? You just memorize what the answer is, and now you understand multiplication. No, you don't understand multiplication. You learned how to, regurgitate the answer to a problem, but you never really understood how the problem functions, and you never understood the fundamental base of how you get to the answer. That's what we've been taught in school all these decades, to the point now we're just a whole bunch of good test takers and regurgitators. We don't know how to work anything out. So that's why I do this technique of teaching, because I try to get people to the base level, to the root level, so that when you're thinking about something, you go, yeah, I remember in the video when they were talking about this information, this happened here, and this happened here in the science, and this is why it works. Let me focus on that. Let me visualize that while I'm trying to enact this or initiate this into my life. So now you actually understand how the problem operates and how to get to the answer, versus just going, coming here and I go, oh yeah, let's say some hums and hymns and yeah, it's going to manifest because you thought about it. Why did it manifest? Why did this happen? Why? How? Is this magic? Okay. To me, in my opinion, it's all based off of quantum mechanics and quantum physics. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. But I think that the deeper you look into quantum physics and quantum mechanics, you start to discover a whole other realm that happens and operates totally different from how we operate here in standard physics. And you begin to realize that a lot of the things happening in quantum physics are the very small scale, subatomic scale. And you start to realize that that's how real life operates, on the spiritual realm. And start to be like, wow, this is really how everything is operated here on this subatomic scale. It's what's happening spiritually. You can make the connection between that and understand how to make it work for you. I think you can manipulate the matrix.
If you liked this video and you want to see more amazing content, go ahead and check out the next video on our channel.